Hello, how's everybody doing? Happy Friday, Financial Freedom Friday. This is your host, Gus Tucker, and we're here in rainy Chicago. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's raining quite a lot here. And it's good to have you back. And for Financial Freedom Fridays, how's everybody doing? You ready for the weekend? I don't know, are you? Are you ready for the weekend? I am. My wife finally comes home this weekend. She's been in Puerto Vallarta for 10 days. How come you didn't go? That's a good question. You should ask her. All right. All right, guys. So, what we're going to do, hopefully, you've enjoyed Atomic Habits. We're going to be going through that for a few weeks. And the reason is because it's one thing as we go through these financial concepts and we talk about solutions that you get the understanding of what these solutions are and how they work. Well, what's even more important is that we actually implement them. Because unlike school, where you get an A for getting the right answer, you don't get a financial A unless you actually execute on the things that you're being shared with to do. And the money actually ends up in the solution of choice and it's growing at a certain interest rate, or you're getting out of debt, or you're insuring your family, or you've put the will and the trust in place. It only happens when you actually do it. So what we're going to be talking about is some concepts from the book Atomic Habits, and the Atomic Habits is written by James Clear, and I encourage you to get the book. We're going to be covering some of the concepts from the book, and we're going to be sharing those with you. So I would really, really, really encourage you to get the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. So we're going to share this screen. So okay. So as we talked about, financial independence is the state of having sufficient personal wealth to live without having to work actively for your basic necessities. Now, our goal for each and every one of you is to, at some point in the future, be able to have assets that you can live on, okay, without having to go out to work every day, either from money you've invested, or real estate you've invested, or you're getting paid a royalty for some international intellectual property or something. But that's our goal for you, okay? And so to get that started, we've encouraged you to take the financial literacy quiz. Some of you have taken us up on that. Encourage you to do that. Take the financial literacy quiz and get a free ebook. That ebook is going to give you some strategies about how to create financial independence for yourself. And there's a financial freedom checklist. That checklist will cover over 20 different areas of your finances that you need to have a plan for. Because if you don't, the fact that you don't have a plan is going to become readily apparent to you pretty quickly. Okay, so you really want to do that. You really want to get that financial checklist. And then the last day is a free financial needs analysis. One of our team members will work with you to put together a strategy based on your goals. And there's no charge for that, and you're not required to implement it. Hello, Dorothy from Holly Springs, Mississippi. I'm sure it's warm down there and not raining. Okay. So the next thing, we encourage you to get the book How Money Works um, by Steve Siebold and Tom Matthews. It's available on Amazon. We're going to be jumping back into these concepts in a few weeks and working with you on your budget and the handling of your money through some of the concepts that we talked about in this book called The 7 Money Milestones. And we're going to go through 7 decisions that you need to make about your money in your future to create financial independence. Now, the reality of financial independence. Most people will not experience financial freedom. As a matter of fact, right now in America, over 90% of Americans never experience financial freedom. that place that we're talking about where they have enough money coming in and they don't have to work. And this is beyond the Social Security check, okay? So this is creating wealth beyond that. So this is a poem. It's called The Habit. And I encourage you uh, to look this poem up. It's available a lot of different places you can find it. Just look up The Habit and you'll see it. It talks about it's your constant companion. I'm your greatest helper, your heaviest burden. And it describes habits, okay? And habits run almost half of our lives. We do things all the time based on habit. When you drive a car, you don't have to think about it. You know, left I just left my keys in the door of the office, right? And one of my office mates came in after me and like, what are you doing? You know, it's a habit, you know, not leaving the keys in the door, but unlocking the door. Okay. And so you want to get that poem called The Habit because habits are powerful. And I encourage you to read this book, Atomic Habits. It's an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones because everything we do in our lives eventually comes down to our habits. And we're going to talk about that. Why focus on habit change? Because if you get 1% better every day, at the end of the year, you'll be 37 times ahead of where you were before. Not 3 times. Hello from Nigeria. I was just in Nigeria at the end of February. Lagos and a bunch of other cities too. You're going to be 37 times further ahead with just a 1% improvement. That's why if you make small changes, you can have huge results. Thank you, Alexis. Yeah, it is a good read, and when we apply the concepts that we learned, it'll revolutionize your life. Okay, why small changes? Because you want to focus on your current trajectory, not your current results and current results. Okay, because the angle that you're taking off on towards your future that is what's most important. Because an outcome is what's called a lagging indicator, a lagging result. That's something that happens after the fact. But your habits are leading indicators. If you keep working out, you're projected to get in shape. If you keep eating correctly, you're projected to lose weight. If you keep saving and investing, you're projected to get wealthy. So we want to create positive compounding in our lives, positive productivity compounding. Our knowledge can compound and our relationships can compound. Those are 3 areas that you want to get compounding in your life. Now, negative also compounds too. Stress, negative thinking, and anger compounds. Okay, so we just went to lunch, right? And so I'm trailing my friends, and they're in a Jeep in front of me, and we're going, and I don't know where I'm going, so I'm following them, and they pull up to park. Now I'm right behind them with my blinker on, right next to the space I want to park in, and this person comes in front of me and is going to back into the space. So I pulled up right behind him so he couldn't back up to just say, dude, I'm not here with my blinker on, for my help. And so he finally got the message and went on, and we parked. And lo and behold, he was coming into the same place. He wasn't that happy with us. He finally warmed up, but outrage can compound. I'm glad it didn't go any further than that. But negative compounds too. So forget about your goals. Focus on your systems. We talked about this last week. So goals are about income, but systems are the processes that create the results. Why don't focus on goals? Because winners and losers have the same goals. Are you guys watching the NBA or hockey finals or any of the other sports finals that are on? Both teams come on with the same idea, the same goal. They're going to win. But if your team, if you're playing basketball, isn't shooting very well, is turning the ball over when they dribble or pass or fumbling it out of bounds or not rebounding, those systems are going to cause them to lose and not hit their goal. So it's the systems that you have in your life and that you execute, which will cause you to win. Okay. And the goal is just a momentary change. Okay. It's not a long-term change. If you change a system, that's a lifelong change. Goals can also restrict your happiness. It's kind of binary. I won, I lost. I won, I lost. I won, I lost. And there are no points for getting better. So you want to set it up in your life so that as you're getting better and making progress, you're also rewarding yourself. And also, goals are at odds with long-term progress, because you hit a goal, if you haven't set the next one, you just kind of stop. And if you hit the goal, you may have done it with some bad habits, potentially, or some things that are not so integrous. You cut some corners. So your systems, it's not just important to hit the goal, but it's how you hit the goal. Okay? So you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems or your character. Okay, so come on, guys. You want to put in systems that'll continue to cause you to grow as a person. And as you grow as a person, you're going to hit more of your outcomes you want. So your habits will end up shaping your future, right? You don't rise above your identity, the truth you believe about yourself. Okay? You won't go further than you believe you deserve or that you're valued. Because you'll start to think about, I'm an imposter. You've heard of that, the imposter syndrome, where people get to a certain level and they don't really believe that they deserve to be there. So what happens is they fail. They fail. They create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So changing habits is challenging. Why? Because people choose to try to change the wrong thing and change the wrong way. So we're going to spend some time today talking about the process of changing habits, not changing outcomes, but changing systems, processes, which will change your identity over time. Okay? We want to change from the inside out. From the inside out. Everybody wants to get rich tomorrow, but they don't want to grow the skills that will enable them to get rich eventually, and sometimes faster than you might think. So layer one is changing outcomes. What you get, change. Layer two is changing processes. Those are the systems. And then layer three will change what you believe and who you are. And as you change at the identity level and you have stronger convictions about who you are and about what's possible for you, that will empower you to grow faster and stronger. Okay. And we gave the example last time of a person who was smoking, who was offered a cigarette. There were two people that were offered a cigarette. One person says, well, I'm trying to quit smoking. The other person says, I'm no longer a smoker. Okay, which one is a stronger identity that's more likely to win long term? The person who says, I'm trying to quit, or the person who says, I'm no longer a smoker? I think the second one is going to win long term because they changed their identity. So we talked about this. Decide the type of person you want to be. Prove it to yourself by beginning to win, by beginning to do things that build small wins in your life, because habits matter because they cause you to be the person you want to be. I was watching a video last night of Warren Buffett. I know most of you, if not all of you, have heard of Warren Buffett. And he said three things he was looking for from people that he hired at his company. One is that they were intelligent, at a certain level of intelligence. Two, they had a certain level of energy and self-motivation. And third was integrity. Integrity. Integrity is the habit of doing things the right way all the time, whether someone's watching or not. And then he gave some examples of people who lacked integrity and it caused whole companies to fail. Okay? So, identity-based habits. So, one of the things I want to say to you right now is as you're seeking to change your financial situation, as it relates to your identity, you are not your financial results. In other words, your financial results don't equal who you are. Don't say to yourself, I'm broke. You're not broke. You may not have the cash flow that you want, but you the person are not broke. What do you mean I'm not broke? Well, would you sell your arm? How much would you sell your arm for? 50,000? 100,000? Well, you can't be broke if you got two arms worth 200 grand. That's called an asset. So you're not broke. Okay? You may not have the cash flow you want, but you're not broke. Okay? So if you look at your current income, your cash flow, your credit score, how much you have in savings, your emergency fund, your retirement account balance, your investment portfolio balance. And some people might say, well, what's that? Your credit card balance, the fact that you don't have any insurance or you don't have a plan. Don't put yourself down because of these things. If they're true of your situation, but that doesn't make you a bad person per se. Okay? You don't want your identity tied to your outcomes. You want your identity tied to your habits and the habits you're developing. So, what do I mean by that? You need to decide who you want to be as a person and decide you're going to improve your results by improving your systems and the habits that run those systems. And as you improve your systems and your habits, and you begin to make small changes, your beliefs about yourself will change. And therefore, your possibilities will change. Because you'll believe more in yourself and you'll believe more is possible than you ever have before. By changing your identity. How do you change your identity? Change your results. How do you change your results? You change your habits, the small things you do every day. So how do you go about changing your habits? Well, first thing is decide the kind of person you want to be as it relates to money. Now, you could decide in other areas of your life as well. Who do you want to be health-wise? Who do you want to be in the place of your career? Who do you want to be in the place of your education? You know, what kind of traits of a person would you want to build into yourself to be successful in those areas? This is about money. Decide the kind of person you want to be. Not how much money you want to save or invest or have, but do you want to become a saver? Do you want to become an investor? Do you want to become an excellent money manager? Do you want to become a real estate tycoon? Do you want to own more Airbnbs than anybody? What kind of person do you want to be? A saver, an investor, a money manager, a real estate CEO? What is it that you desire to do? Not the money you want in your outcome, but the person you want to be. Okay, so I want you to spend some time thinking about that and write that down. What kind of person you want to be. If you're working out, you might say, I want to be disciplined, right? I want to be consistent, working out. Could be a lot of different things like that. Okay, decide the kind of person you want to be. Then decide the habit that you need to develop to become that person. Just one habit that you can do. And then we're going to start a simple thing. Start you on a simple way of doing it. So, and I want you to think about it. If I did this consistently, I would be on my way. It says in my way. It should be on my way to being the person I want to be. So if I budgeted my money accurately and stuck to the budget, I'd be on my way to being. If I saved money consistently and automatically, I'd be on my way to being. If I invested consistently and automatically, I'd be on my way to being. If I gave money to support other people automatically, consistently and automatically, I'd be on my way to where? So think about that action that you want to take on an ongoing basis that's going to move you towards your goal by being a person of integrity, being a person of your word, of doing what you say you're going to do. You pick a habit that when you change that, it's going to allow you to develop into the person that you've chosen that you want to be. Now, how do you change your habits? Well, One of the first things we have to do is get aware of what our habits are. Many of us have habits and things that we do that we don't even know that we do. Do you have any of those? Sure you do. Sure you do. What are some of them? Man, there's so many to name. What are some things that you do? You can put it in the chat or put it on Facebook that you do without even thinking. Okay? Um, right? Like one of the things I do uh, routinely, and I have to not do it, is people are talking, I will cut them off from talking. That's a bad habit. Or people are talking a long time, I'll tend to trail off and not listen. What habits do you have right now that you'd like to change? So here's how habit works. A habit is really an activity that solves a problem. So there are four areas. The problem phase of a habit that presents the problem is the cue. The cue is the thing that triggers you to want to do something. That cue can either be a location, a time of day, it could be a smell, it could be a sight, it could be some music, it could be a feeling, it could be some food, it can be a certain circumstance. It's hard to say. For every habit, it's different. Well, what habit would you like to change? One of the ways to change is that to identify it in the problem phase. I went to the kitchen and I was triggered that I needed something to eat and I wanted to go out. So right away, going into the kitchen hungry caused me to want to go somewhere out to get something to eat. And so when you have the craving, that's the desire or the want to do something. And that's critical in a habit because that provides the motivation. So if my habit is eating outside the house, I go into the kitchen, that triggers me to say, I look in the refrigerator and that triggers me, I want some food, but we don't have it here. I'm triggered to go get the chicken somewhere else, right? Go get it, and I've used the car to do it. So that response is based on the car. So the whole thing with changing our habits is changing the cues and the cravings, because those are the things that cause us to look towards the product of the reward. Okay, so we can make different choices on the front end, be cued by different things, or cue ourselves and desire the right things. We can begin to change some of those habits. Okay. So here's something that I need you to do for next week. Okay. I need you to begin to what we call point and call your habits. There's a story in the book about people in Tokyo. The people, excuse me, drive the trains in Tokyo. As they get to every stop, they call out the stop, they call out the speed, they call out where they parked at, they then call out how long they've been there and that they're leaving, and certain checks on the doors, certain checks on certain monitors, certain checks physically up and down the line, and then they go. Well, this mother had a small child. They got their arm caught in the door and it wasn't closing correctly. If that train would have took off, that kid's arm would have been taken off. But the person on the train recognized and saw it. Why? Because they were going through their point and call checklist. They were looking at this point and they were looking at that point and they were looking at that point, and then they looked down and they saw the child's arm and they stopped the train. Because they weren't operating unconscious where they were just going through the motions. No, they got their whole body involved in it, and they were seeing, thinking, feeling, and so that enabled them to make the change so that kid didn't get hurt. So the first thing we want to do to change your habits is we got to get aware of what your habits are. So this is a habit scorecard. And I want you to put down your habits as soon as you get up in the morning for a whole day. Get up at 1 o'clock in the morning, or 12 o'clock, or 5 o'clock, or 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever time you get up. What's the first thing you do? Call it out, point it out. First thing I do when I get up in the morning is I hit the snooze button, or I turn the alarm clock off, or I reach to get my watch. I reach to get my cell. What is it? The first thing you do in the morning, and then go through a whole day like that, where you are capturing what your habits are on a daily basis. These forms are available. I think I showed you this website back here, the slide before. I'm going to go back. It's called atomichabits.com/cheat sheet. And you can sign up for, and I encourage you to do it. I did it. Sign up for James Clear's class on changing your habits. I encourage you to get that, and he provides this book free of charge for anybody that calls. And I'm excited about that. So get the habit loop, and the next slide, get the habit scorecard at atomichabits.com/cheat sheet. So you can start writing your habits down, writing them all down, and getting clear on the things that are your habits. And the goal is to have somebody who can kind of shadow you as you live your life, and they'll make sure you write things down, make sure you do what you're supposed to. Maybe they can't even come in. It's raining, but maybe they can't come in. They got to stand on the porch. Try to make it so they can come in, and they won't infringe on your rights or anything like that. Okay, it's going to be a good time. So that's changing your habits and taking a habit scorecard and getting present to what your habits are. Okay. Now, what's going to happen is, as you do that, you're going to begin to understand your habit loop. How do you engage every day, and how do you have habits that are running most of your life? What are those habits? You're going to identify them, especially regarding the ones in how you treat money. Point and call out your habits. Speak to them. Run over in your mind how you do different ones, what you're thinking about. We talked about determining the money-related person that you want to be. And identify a habit that you want to change regarding money. Something that'll knock your socks off that you want to change returning money. Somebody's gonna do that. Okay? Now, that's your assignment for this week. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. Right now, do you have a system for saving? Where no matter what, automatically off the top, money gets saved. What if you had a system for saving since you were 18 years old, and you had X% of money going into that system? No matter what kind of interest rates you were getting, how would you be doing today? Do you have a system for investing? Do you have a system for making money? Do you have a system for managing your taxes? Do you have a system for developing retirement strategy or retirement income? I want you to think about all these areas of managing your money as you're putting down your habits. Integrate those into your system, because then you'll begin to really see how much time is this guy spending in this business. Map out all the hours in a week. Color code yours in with pink. His will be color coded by the end of the week. Okay, so understand the habit loop. Identify your habits, especially regarding how you treat money. Point and call out your habits as you have them. Determine the money-related person that you want to be. I want to be a saver. I want to be an investor. I want to be a money manager. Identify a habit that you want to change regarding money. Okay, that's where you want to be at the next class, because we're going to pick it up from there. Okay, and you can get these sheets at where I point you towards atomichabits.com/cheat sheet. And I will tell you, sign up for the free class that James Clear teaches on habits, because he's going to walk you through how to change a habit. Okay. So that coupled with what we're going through, you're set up to win financially. Okay. So you guys have a great Friday. It's good seeing you. And remember, go take the quiz. Go take the quiz at howmoneyworks.com/Gus Tucker, howmoneyworks.com/Gus Tucker. Take the challenge, get your free ebook that's going to help you develop systems. That ebook is going to help you develop systems that are going to help you create financial independence for yourself. Okay? Take care, guys.